Hey everyone, I hope you're well. Today we're going to be talking about badges. Did you know that there are 77 different badge types in Apex Legends, and in total a variety of over 370 badge variations in the game? It's actually impossible to get all of the badges unless you played the game from the very beginning and have an account on both console and PC. So what we're going to do is look through all of the badges and talk about which ones are the rarest. We've done this before in the past, but obviously more badges come out and things change, and perhaps more importantly, we've never really had a true look at all badges in existence, and there isn't a place on YouTube yet for that. So this is going to be the history of Apex Legends badges. Let's get into it. So first we'll take a look at the account badges. These ones aren't as rare as other badges because they are always available. They've always been available since the start of the game, and they can still be obtained today. These account badges can range from something as simple as equipping items in a banner slot for your legends, or as hard as the Teamwork Badge, which requires you as a pre-made squad to get 10 kills each in trios mode. So right now I'd say all of these ones are pretty common. These are very easy to spot these days. Most people have these badges. However, some badges in here are pretty rare just because they are a little bit harder. Master of All is sort of getting into that tier of being difficult. Win at least 10 times with 8 different legends. Most people like to main a single legend, so this badge is actually pretty rare in terms of how many people actually have it in the game. We could say the Baller Badge and the Warlord Badge are pretty rare too, but now there are so many veterans in the game that have spent money for many months, these ones are starting to become less rare too. Well-Rounded is another one of those badges that's pretty rare, as it requires you to get 20,000 damage of 8 different legends. Once again, a lot of people don't actually play a variety of legends that much, so whilst it may not be as rare as the Teamwork Badge, which we'll talk in a minute, it is still reasonably rare. Now these two badges are, they're rare but not really, because you have to pay for them. If you have EA Access or Origin Access, or I think it's called EA Play now, you'll get one of these two badges. So yeah, I mean, you're either on PC or Xbox, it's basically the same badge, it's just called something different. So not really that rare, but you don't see it that often. Now we have the Anniversary Badge. It's kind of safe to say that this badge isn't really that rare. I'd say pretty much all players have the Year 1 Anniversary Badge, which requires you to play the game within the first year of release. However, Tier 2 for this badge is a little bit rarer. It requires you to play the game within the first month of release, and perhaps the rarest of all, the Anniversary 3 Badge, which requires you to play the game within 1 week of release. Now Apex had insane success very early on, so this badge isn't as rare as the Teamwork Badge, but it's pretty rare. But I'd say the majority of active players do have this badge. Then we have the Teamwork Badge. Now this has multiple tiers, and I think that tier 1 and 2 are pretty common, but tier 3 and 4 are very rare. Tier 1 requires all players in a trio pre-made squad to get 3 kills, tier 2 is 5 kills, tier 3 is 7, and tier 4 is 10 kills. This is, in my opinion, the hardest badge to unlock in the game, harder than the 20 kill badge and harder than the 4k damage badge. You need 30 kills in a single game, and there needs to be 10 kills at least across 3 players, so that's pretty hard. Now, an even rarer badge that sort of gets a tier of its own, I suppose, is the Respawn Dev Badge. This is only available for Respawn Entertainment devs, workers, voice actors, and apparently game testers as well. So you very rarely see this badge. This is absolutely the rarest badge in existence because you cannot unlock it unless you work for Respawn. Next up, we have the Content Pack Badges. Now, these are pretty common, to be honest, because you can buy them at any point. You can still buy them. Well, not all of them. We'll talk about that in a second. So we have the Bloodhound, the Lifeline, the Octane, and the Pathfinder badge, all of which are available as soon as you buy each edition for each respective legend. However, 2 badges can no longer be claimed, so these are actually pretty rare. The Feeding Frenzy badge and the Founder badge were only available at the very start of the game. You had to buy the Starter Pack or the Founders Pack, both of which sort of came with some skins, some banners, and some Apex coins. These are no longer available, so you cannot get these badges anymore. and they definitely get people's attention when you use them in the game. Next, let's talk about event badges. Now, it's hard to pin a rarity on these badges, but these badges can no longer be claimed, and they were unlocked by completing challenges during certain events. I'll go through the most common ones first, and then we'll take a look at the rarest ones. From the most recent event, we have the Shadow Royale badges, the Horizon Test Subject Badge, the Aftermarket Event Badges, the Lost Treasures Event Badges, the System Override Event Badges, the Old Way Badges, the Valentine's Event Badges, which literally you unlock just by logging in, either on Valentine's Day 2020 or Valentine's Day 2019, the Grand Soiree Event Badges, the Armed and Dangerous Badges, the Void Walker Badges, the Iron Crown Badges, and the Legendary Hunt Badge. All of these were very easy to get, so I'd say these are pretty common, except perhaps the Season 1 and Season 2 badges where, you know, player base kind of dropped down a little bit, but besides that, all the rest are very common. They're not very rare, they weren't hard to get. Now, there were some event badges that were pretty hard to get. The Fight or Fright badge was hard. Getting the final Fight or Fright badge from last year's Halloween event was difficult because so many people quit the game. You had to escape the dropship 25 times in the Shadowfall game mode, which proved to be pretty difficult. Now, the reason this was difficult was because you had to unlock Tier 2 first, and that required you to kill 50 shadows. It may not seem hard, but shadows just quit. A lot of people would just quit the game as soon as they turned into a shadow, which made it really hard to find shadows in the first place. The Trackmaster Badge for Winter Express wasn't too hard, but it's definitely one of the rarer ones because you had to capture the train 75 times, and a lot of people just got sick of trying to capture it, and people would just kill each other instead. So you could either win the game by capturing the train or killing people, and as you can imagine, people just tended to kill each other. Now, there's one more event badge I want to talk about, and then later we'll get into the super ultra rare event badges. This one I don't really know where to place. It's the Absolute Monarchy badge. Back in Season 2 there was a solo mode LTM, and to do this you essentially had to get a solo win with every legend in the game. Not too hard, that's just 8 wins, right? But you know, as you kind of see, the theme of this video kind of shows that not everybody likes to play all legends, so it was rare. It was definitely a feat to unlock, and Season 2 was probably kind of a dip in player base in terms of how many people were playing. So yeah, pretty rare, but not the rarest event badge. There's some more, you'll see later. Next, we're moving on to the legend badges. Now, of course, each legend has their win badge, which goes up to 100 wins. I'd say that's a pretty prestige badge to get. If you have 100 wins for legend, that's pretty good going, to be fair. The other badges are pretty common. I'd say all of these badges are common. We have Apex Predator, Deadeye, Double Duty, Flawless Victory 1 and 2, Headshot, Hotshot, Hot Streak, No One Left Behind, Rapid Elimination, Reinforcement Recall, Shot Caller, Squad Wipe, The Legacy Continues, and then Triple Triple. All of these badges are unlocked on each legend uniquely, so every time you play a legend you can unlock these again. Now we're going to start to get into the rarer badges. First up we have Assassin. Now this one's not that rare, but getting 100 games with 5 or more kills does require quite a lot of playtime, so it's sort of the, you know, if all the other badges are C tier, then this is a B tier badge in terms of legend badges. And then we have the damage badge, the Legend Wrath damage badges. I'd say 2000 damage is a B tier, 2500 is an A tier, as well as 3000 and then 4k damage has to be an S tier badge. It's pretty rare to get this these days. And then of course the 20 kill badge is also an S tier badge. It's hard to get, it's almost just down to luck, to be honest. I mean, you can be really cracked at this game and you'll still not get this badge just because, you know, people kill each other so quickly now. Definitely a hard badge to get. Now, of course, we have all of the Ranked League badges. So far, there are 4 seasons of badges from Season 2 to Season 5, from Bronze all the way up to Apex Predator. So, as you can imagine, Apex Predator is the rarest badge. I can imagine about 1,000 to 2,000 people per platform will get this badge each season. You don't have to stay in the top 500 to get this badge. You just have to touch Apex Predator once and then you'll get it. So, obviously, it's not as rare as saying only 500 people get it each season, but still definitely a very prestigious badge to have. And oh boy, I wish I had it. Now we're getting into some really crazy rare badges. Back in Season 1, they had these insane challenge badges that took a lot of time and grinding to fully max out. So we had Glory Seeker, which required you to get a top 5 placement with 7 different legends, Variety Show, kills with 7 different legends, and then World Frontier Champion wins with 7 different legends. This may not seem hard for the first tier, but if you look at the final tier, it gets pretty crazy. You actually get an animated badge for completing the final tier. With Glory Seeker, you had to get top 5 squads 50 times with 7 different legends. That's a top 5 finish 350 times across this season. Variety Show required 100 kills with 7 different legends. 700 kills across the season, not too hard. But then the hardest was World Frontier Champion, getting 50 wins with 7 different legends. 350 wins in total. Now there was an even rarer badge that doesn't even appear much online. It is the bonus round badge. The animated version of this was cool. The battle pass system in the first season was a bit weird. You'd get battle pass points differently per each legend you played, but it took a lot of grinding to do. And this final badge required you to get 250,000 battle pass points with 9 different legends. Essentially, you just had to grind the game out like crazy with every single legend in the game. In my opinion, this is perhaps the second rarest badge in the game, and we'll talk about the rarest in a second. Next, we have 2 badges that are pretty rare. That is the Elite Streak badge and the Powers of 2 badge. So the Elite Streak badge was a badge that you could unlock in the Apex Elite game mode. This was before Ranked came out, and it was sort of a test for Ranked. Essentially, if you got into a top 5 placement, the next game you would join the Apex Elite queue. And if you got a top 5 placement in that elite queue, you would stay in the elite queue. You didn't have to win, but you did have to get top 5 placements. Now, this one wasn't really rare. All you had to do was play the event, because the streak badge itself would change depending on how many top 5 placements you got in elite queue. Some people had hundreds of top 5 placements in a row without losing a top 5 placement once. You can stay in the elite queue basically forever as long as you keep getting top 5 placements. But if you lose a game before getting top 5, then you'll have one final chance. And if you then once again don't get top 5, you'll be kicked back into the standard queue and your streak will be lost. Now, that was a pretty cool badge, but the rarest badge in this event was the Elite 888 badge. This badge required you to win at least 8 elite queue matches with 8 different legends, also with 8 kills in each game. So to explain how to do this, first you'd have to get a top 5 placement to enter the elite queue, and then in that elite queue you'd have to get 8 kills with 8 different legends. So a total of 64 kills spread across 8 different legends in the elite queue. This was really difficult because it's like getting 8 kills in ranked, but once you leave that queue, you gotta once again get a top 5 placement to join it again. And because people really wanted to get that top 5 placement, there was so much camping, people weren't fighting, getting high kills is really, really hard. This is the rarest badge in the game. So that's it, all badges in Apex Legends so far. We've talked about the rare ones, the not so rare ones, the ones you can't get anymore, and the ones you can still achieve with a lot of hard work. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you all in the comments. Cheerio! What's on the horizon? It might be surprising. There's more than meets the eyes then. Can't you see him hiding? It's that man named Crypto. Yeah, he's got the drip though, but that don't make it safe to let go of your pistol. This man's like a phantom. How can you guys stand him? He's hacking the mainframe. Someone needs to end him. This will be the ending. You cannot defend him. He knows every damn thing. Look back at his tracks then.